Hello, my lovely loonies. It is February 1st. February 1st, 2016 is also a leap year, so that's exciting, right? I've been thinking a lot of things lately, and I kind of want to try to get them all together in one coherent thought. So, if you'll allow me. I've been thinking about this song, Happiness Runs by Donovan, and there is a line in that song that has been kind of my mantra lately. It is, you can have everything if you let yourself be. Now, the part of this song that, the reason this is my mantra is because one of the things he talks about is that happiness runs on a circular motion. And I feel like what he's trying to say is that that last line, you can have everything if you let yourself be, is supposed to be a circle. And if you turn that line into a circle, and then it reads, I've actually done this before, but then it basically reads, you can have everything if you let yourself be you. And I think that there's something to that. Not in the sense that if you let yourself be you, then you will just magically inherit $1 million. But I think that if you learn how to let yourself be who you really are, then things will start happening for you. And you can have all of the things that you need if you let yourself be you. So you can have everything if you let yourself be. Doesn't mean everything that you want, but it can be everything that you need and maybe some of the stuff that you want. And then the other half of this that I was thinking about is teenagers and how it must suck to be a teenager in this day and age, because chances are you've either been a teenager, like me, you are a teenager right now, or you will be a teenager eventually. But pretty much at every point in everybody's life, that stage happens. And I can remember being a teenager more or less pre-internet. There was internet when I was a teenager, but it wasn't pre-social media. I can definitely say that. There was internet, but there was no Tumblr, there was no Twitter, there was no Facebook, there was no Instagram when I was a teenager. So I can only imagine how difficult it is for teenagers now, because it was really difficult for me. You have so many different pressures. You have pressures from your family, pressures from your friends, pressures from now the internet and social medias, and then you have pressures that you have to be a good student, and you have to conform, and you have to be like your friend group, and you have to be all of these things. And on top of all of these things that you have to be and you have to do, you're also trying to figure out who you even are and what you means. And I can remember personally feeling like instead of deciding who I was, I basically just morphed into whatever group of friends that I was with. So I never really was me. I had a vague idea of who I was, like especially when I was alone in my room. Then I started to kind of get an idea of who I was. But pretty much if I was around any group of friends, I was just whoever they were, and I fit in wherever I was. I was never just myself. So I think that I can only imagine how difficult it must be to have that social media pressure of this is how you're supposed to be, this is how you're supposed to act, you're supposed to go out and have fun and go to parties and do whatever, and you're supposed to look this certain way. I can only imagine how difficult that is to have that thrown into all of these other pressures, because it's hard enough just trying to be a teenager and to exist in the world, but to have those pressures added onto it, I feel for teenagers right now. And I think that I identify with teenagers because I am finally, after all of these years, trying to come into my own and to be my true, authentic self, and to not just, chameleon depending on the temperature of the room. And so what I would like to do is be a guide and be a resource for any teenager out there right now that is confused, is wondering, is struggling, like how do I don't know. Yeah. Anything like that. Anything where there are teenagers out there that are struggling. And I know that you are. I know that you are. I remember. I do. It may have been several years ago, but I remember how difficult it is. And, I am here. I am here. And I'm going through it myself in a grown-up way. I think I don't have those pressures, and I don't have the expectations. I do, but I don't care about them anymore because I'm old enough now that I can look and say, I'm a good mom, so whatever your expectation of me is, I don't care because I'm doing what I think is the best. But yeah, basically, I think you can have everything if you let yourself be you. And I can understand and I can remember what it was like being a teenager and having no idea what that was because I was getting like 7 different messages and I couldn't. So ultimately, if you're in that position, please, feel free to contact me on any of the social medias. I will link the ones that I'm on the most, which is Tumblr, honestly, but I'll tweet you too. Any of the social medias, and I, even if you just want someone to commiserate, I can do that. I'm great at that. I love that. But if you want advice, I will freely give you advice. And if you were a teenager and you have advice for teenagers, please leave that in the comments because I feel really bad for teens in this day and age because they already get a bad rap being teenagers and generally being idiots. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean when I say that, just generally teenagers are idiots. Even the really, really good ones, your brain's not there yet. But please, let them know that, this too shall pass, I guess, or whatever. But I get it, and I'm right there with you. I'm trying to learn how to live my authentic self. I'm trying to learn to live life as my authentic self also. So, all right, that's pretty much it. I did have my interview on Thursday, for those of you that are interested in knowing and that don't already know. And I will let you know how that turns out. I should know sometime this week. But, yeah, being a teenager in this day and age has got to be super tough. I mean, you don't have polio, but, social media can be a really damaging place if you don't use it wisely. So, all right. We'll see what happens on Thursday. Bye.